Hi there, my name's Alex and I run the Autism Acceptance page on Facebook. If you're seeing this on Facebook, you will know that. If you're seeing it on YouTube, I'll drop a link in the comment section to my Facebook page. Today, I want to talk about the various connection mismatches that can happen with autism. There are symptoms of autism, classic symptoms that people describe from the outside, but this is a look at the inner workings, and everybody's autism is different, and there are different reasons for different behaviours and different struggles and issues. So yeah, now a lot of the problems that many autistic people have is with processing, accessing and monitoring. Now, we all need to be able to do that. We all need to be able to process what information is coming into us. We need to be able to access that information, and we need to be able to monitor it and work out what to do with it. Okay, so monitoring, processing, accessing and monitoring. So information is just sensory stuff, but then when that sensory stuff happens, we decode it. So like I think I've done this in another video. Imagine you seeing something that's white and square and flat. So that's you're processing it, but you haven't quite processed it for meaning yet. And then your monitoring works. Your monitoring kicks in, and you realize that what you're processing, this white, flat, smooth surface, is a sheet of paper. So you've monitored what it is, and what do you do with a sheet of paper? You then need to be able to access the information on what to do about it. The problem is a lot of autistic people work in mono, which means that we can have issues juggling different information all at once. I have never been a good juggler, either physically or in my head. I remember trying to work out excuse me, maths in school, and we'd work out the problem. I'd work out the problem, and I'd find the answer to part of the problem, and then obviously you take that answer and add the answer you've got to the next part of the problem to get. And by the time I was trying to hold on to the answer that I'd already got, so I could remember to add it on to the next part of the problem. But in holding that in my head, I forgot how I worked out the problem, the first part of the problem, and then I wouldn't be able to work out the second part of the problem. So I'd just be all confused. And, I'm not very organised. If I see someone doing something organised, I find it easier to be explained in an organised way, in an organised way, but I'm not actually an organised person. There's varying degrees of processing, monitoring and accessing issues, but yeah, That's the the basis of it. So processing of information is processing information that comes in through the senses. This is about getting meaning and significance about what we see, hear, feel, our movements, and where our body is in space. Without efficient or consistent processing, it can be difficult or impossible to get general, significant, relative significance, or even literal meaning of sense of location or experience, even though processing may continue on a subconscious or preconscious level. So sometimes you can, something will just click in your brain, or you'll go into autopilot and you'll know how to do something in autopilot, but as soon as you think about it, you're lost. I found that. I found that in the past. So monitoring is monitoring one's own expression, things like movements, body language, action, facial expressions, vocal intonation, touch, volume, words, order, sentence structure, what words you're actually saying. This monitoring problem is about keeping track of the connection between intention and expression. And without efficient and consistent monitoring, it can become difficult or impossible to express yourself with intention in any way that appears socially comprehensible or purposeful to others. So it's that kind of back and forth thing. You need that for conversations. You can harp on about your special interests or whatever, but when somebody comes in with new information, that's that thing that's adding the new information to the old information, and how do you work around it? And a lot of autistic people can struggle with that. So you're on your own track, but then something on the outside comes that you didn't account for, and all of a sudden it's got you in a pickle. So what can you do? What can you do about this? There are various compensations. It depends obviously how bad it is. Systems forfeiting and system shutdowns. So in a way, we're all like this. Sometimes we need quiet to be able to concentrate, or sometimes something could be, a room could be too bright, there could be too much noise, and all of it. So you need to, if you can, reduce the stimuli in one sense, or have only one sense operating solely. So if you need to listen, shut your eyes, or be in an environment where there's no bright colours. If the noise is loud, if the noise is loud, and the visuals are loud, as in bright, then you're going to struggle. So shifting between self and other. Keeping track, so it's the keeping track of the other person and the keeping track of yourself or this situation. So what a lot you hear autistic people, they'll talk in the first person or in the third person. They might be called, so I might say, Alex wants to go to the shop. Because it's easy for me to, this isn't how I am, but just using my name. So it might be easier for me to see myself on the outside rather than see Alex as in me. I'm seeing me, and then relaying what I want as me, and somebody's information is coming back to me. If I can be Alex and I can be on the outside, then it's all on the outside. So Alex wants and Julie wants, they're all on the outside. So I'm not having to shift between self and other. I am, but I'm tricking my brain that I'm not, and it's easier than my brain having to try and work that out between, inward and outward. This is, them, and this is me. So yeah, so shifting between self and other. Mono and multi-track, let's say, relying on one sense, shutting or having, focusing on one particular sense, concentrating on one particular sense, and without having to attend to all the other senses. Sometimes with an autistic person, the garbage in, garbage out filtering system doesn't work as efficiently. So you have to be quite sparing with the information that you give to someone like that, because they're just taking everything in, everything they don't need to take in. What I've learnt to do in the past is to merge things and connect things. So instead of having all this information swimming around randomly, I can connect it and turn it into like one thing. So say, oh gosh, I don't know. Say there's music going on in the background and I'm trying to concentrate on washing the dishes, then I might wash the dishes to the rhythm of the beat. Just an example. Or if there's a tune playing, someone's singer, then you could sing the instructions that you want, something that you want to tell the person in the same, so I don't know, say Summer of 69 was, Bryan Adams' Summer of 69 was playing in the background. You say, it was a vacuum cleaner that I want you to get out. I can't think of it. You know what I mean? In the tune of, give the instruction in the tune of the thing that is in applying for attention. So marry it all in and make it become part of the thing. If that makes sense. So it all merges together. So what can you do? What are the things that you could do to assist with issues with multi-track and monotrack? I'm struggling to process. Training people to behave as if their problems don't exist. You could do that. Some would say sometimes that could be mentally cruel, but sometimes if that's all you have, they may be, by getting them to just go through the steps, go through the motions, you might be giving them more access and getting them to mask in a way. you're not to mask their pain. You don't want them masking pain or sensory overload, but getting them to mask that they can do something, because there's this, like I said, there's this subconscious learning information that they're taking in, and they're more likely to be given access to things that, if they seem to be able to copy, if they're masking and other people don't see that they're struggling or lost, or as lost or struggling as much as they are, then they will be given more instructions, more opportunity, and they are taking that in, and they might not be able to monitor, access and process it straight away, but it's there for the processing, for later processing. So yeah, that might be an option. Rote learning, just rote learning is rote learning, repetitive. This happens, you do this. That happens, you do that, and it's always the same. Improving efficiency of information processing by addressing any deficiencies, fluctuation, or intolerances that affect the supply of nutrition to the brain. So it could be a question of diet. I mean, I'm not on these. I'm no Slim Jim, but it's so. I mean, I probably sound a bit hypocritical preaching about diet, but it's, if you drink water, you feel better. If you eat fruit, you feel better. If you have nutritious meal, it makes you feel better. And it's the brain. It's the food for the brain as well as food for the body, and it affects your biochemistry as well, to have something healthy and nutritious, something that's taking care of your body, to be hydrated and all that stuff, obvious stuff. Leaving things out to speed things up. So if the brain is trying to take in everything all at once and not filtering, don't give it so much information. Leave things out that don't need to be processed where you can. Slowing down in what is coming in to speed up what the brain does with it. So just slow down, that's what it says. If everything's doing at a fast pace, quite often you might have a child or an adult or whoever, and you're giving them instructions and you're not waiting for them to finish the first thing that you've asked them to do. You're not being patient. It's just do this, and you're ramming them. Don't do that. Ask them to do something and then wait for them to complete it. No pressure. Just wait for them to finish the first thing, then calmly and slowly go on to the next thing, and then wait again. Then it might seem frustrating to you. Try to take deep breaths. Try not to let it frustrate you, because it helps them. And also, if you are feeling frustrated, we are very good at picking up vibes. I'm okay, that's fine. Yeah, no, you take your time. And I'm getting those hurry up vibes. You don't mean that. You're going to explode any time. And I'm still like, and you're getting anxious and you're getting negative feelings, and those emotions are physical sensations. So it's the physical sensation of your emotional states. People forget that. People forget that emotions are felt by biochemical sensations of physical sensations, and just like any other sensation, any other sensory thing, it's there, it will distract you. So keeping the nervous system calm and not having any kind of stabby, jabby, prickly, sugary, sherbety, or whatever type sensations, any kind of scratchy sensations flooding you, or keeping them to a minimum. So keep things calm. Try to stay calm yourself. Deep breaths, practice mindfulness, whatever. So when you're dealing with an autistic person, you're not faking it. You're not, you could be saying the calmest, most reassuring things, but you're tense, you're hyped. They can feel it. They can vibe it. I can. So keeping things concrete, basically say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't go into abstract stuff. Just don't go into abstract stuff. If you can't help, if they can't help but be distracted by something, then try and incorporate it into what they have to do. So, yeah, I don't know, say they are dusting the lounge and there's a bird flying outside and they got a special interest in the birds, and that bird suddenly distracts them. They can't get that out of their mind. So perhaps they could flap their wings or flap their arms as they're going from one place to dust it to another place to dust it, and imagine that when they're wiping with a duster, it's a wing that's going ooh, ooh, and incorporate their distraction, or which can sometimes be a special interest. See if you can incorporate and marry it into the task that they need to do. Using indirectly confrontational approach. So rather than directly going up to somebody and saying, I need you to put your shoes on now, going up to a child and saying, I need to put you to put your shoes on now, we're going out. Obviously this depends on whether, how much chatter you can do, whether you just need to say you, shoes on, feet, going out the door, whatever. But if they're relatively communicative, but it's just too much bombardment, again, it's the physical sensations. A lot of PDAers get this prickly feeling about being impacted on, being imposed on. So it's not you that wants to go to the shop or them to go to the shop. Their shoes want to go to the shop. So their shoes need to be worn so that the shoes can go to the shop. And if you put it to them that way and you address the shoes, then it takes the spotlight off of them and literally puts the spotlight onto the shoes. Imagine a literal spotlight shining over their head, and instead of shifting that, we need to go to the shops now, you need to put your shoes on, to the shoes want to go to the shop, they need some assistance, literally shines the spotlight on the shoes rather than the person. Okay. And yeah. So I hope that's helped. And I hope that sort of helped you recognise the different issues that some autistic people can have, struggling with the systems and processing and juggling it all. Okay, on that note, remember you're stronger than your struggles. Love and peace, and bye for now.